All right, so we're doing our collab today with the ladies with Espooky Tales. Woo woo!
A spooky way.
Espooky Tales Halloween special. Pew pew. Ladies, welcome to the show, and we're also happy to be on yours. So this will be co-released on either of us. Times to be determined.
Yes,
ladies, for all the audiences out there who don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, we're Espooky Tales. We're a podcast all about paranormal stuff, folklore, myths, legends, with a focus on Latin America.
Sweet, sweet.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And I'm Christina. I don't know if I introduced myself.
Hi, Christina.
Hi.
I'm MJ. Hi, everybody. What Christina said.
And so for everyone on the Spooky Tales side, we are canceled for maintenance. We are 2 of 3. Our third person, Shoreline, is actually on a work trip right now. We talk about the gritty and non-glamorous lifestyle of aircraft maintenance. And
pretty much all thing aviation maintenance related.
The dirty
Fun fact,
side.
I was in an aviation unit in Germany.
Hey, there we go.
There was only 4 medics. I was one of 4 medics.
Oh, you're in a medevac crew. Ooh.
Yeah, no, we were just the medics for everyone else. Not medevac.
Okay.
Medevac was stationed somewhere else, like in 40 minutes away.
Like Spengalum or whatever.
What was the place called? Cotterbach?
Oh yeah, okay.
So I'm
All right.
I'm 6.
Hi.
And I'm
Hello.
MVP.
Short for.
Yes, hi.
Short for man, bear, pig.
Hey,
Which was my call sign throughout all my deployments.
And likewise, our audio wizard Shoreline, he's currently on a work trip. We would totally have wished to him to be here. This would have been extra funny.
Yeah, he would have enjoyed this for sure.
Yeah, he definitely would be laughing his brains off. Like, I'm gonna tell you, ladies, when we do our shows, we would have the audio off, or the video off, just so we can have like a stronger audio stream for Shoreline to fix. But he would have his video on, and the faces he makes when we tell our stories, it just has us rolling. And it just makes us want to add more dumb shit on top of the story just to kind of see what his reaction would be.
Oh
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so like when we can all get together, and I'm sure you guys do the same thing. When you're together face to face, man, the recordings just get so much better because you can just feed off of each other.
Oh, and he gets so animated too.
In the same room. Yeah. Get wild, standing up,
sends
yelling.
me her reactions to whenever like I say like, whatever the topic is that day. And she's like, oh, you should see the face I made right now. Like send it.
And then I will send you a picture. Yeah.
Send it.
That's awesome.
So today, ladies, we want to focus a little bit on a Halloween special, at least for us. For you, this is like a normal everyday thing.
Yeah.
But for us, since we're kind of going to the spirit of Halloween, we want to talk a little bit about haunted bases, haunted hangars, ghost aircraft stories, things of that like. Do you guys have any stories or whatnot that you would care to share?
Fun. Yes, I found a story. I will be taking everyone to the beautiful Puerto Rico about a haunted military fortress. It's an old fortress, so it was built by the Spanish.
Oh, so this is like 1500s or 1600 eras.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right on.
This sounds scary already. She's like, oh, the beautiful haunted island of Puerto Rico. Oh, fantastic.
Right. And then MJ, what's yours about?
Oh, mine, I am doing it on a fortress in Peru. Again, also built by the Spanish. And it's one of the most haunted places in Peru. So can't wait to get into that.
There's a theme here.
God.
Places where the Spanish were are very haunted.
The colony.
What did the Spanish create La Llorona then?
Yeah, there's a possibility that they
Probably.
They create
they-
everything dark.
took
Came in with their
something.
conquering asses and created all the folklore that we hear today.
Or changed it to what it is now.
Now
Well,
we
that's
give
true
them,
too, yeah.
Yeah.
Now we give them side eye. Everybody side eye with me.
Yeah.
I can't
So
see your
before we
side
get
eye,
into
but
that,
you side-eye.
Speaking of Spanish, have you guys ever heard those Aztec death whistles?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Those things
Yeah.
are wild, dude. Can you imagine being like a Spanish like the conquistadors or whatever, like in a little camp in the middle of the jungle, and you just hear those screaming on both sides of you all night long?
I think they sell them on Etsy for like $30.
I want one now.
Oh, really?
I want one now. Can you imagine that? Like, just especially on Halloween night, right? Just blowing the life out of that thing and just hear, "Wah!" Oh my
But can you imagine mini MJ with that? Like, no, I can't have one. Mini MJ would be like,
No.
I think you should
I
treat
think
yourself.
You should.
Choose
Choose
to treat
violence.
yourself. You know.
Choose violence.
Choose violence, mini MJ.
Yeah, you've earned it.
She does.
Choose violence.
Today's the day you stop acting like the bigger person.
When have I ever acted like the bigger person? That's the real
I mean-
person.
That's true.
I mean,
I can't answer that for you, but I just assume there's been times, and so
No.
you've earned this one.
Are you kidding me? Or like when I'm mad, like anything I think that pops into my head, like I'm sorry. If my mouth goes off, that's your fault, not mine.
Yeah, but that's the Latina side coming out, the hot bloodedness. I get it. I live with it.
I think we all live with it, right? Matter of fact, all three of us.
We're a little bit homicidal. No, I'm just kidding.
I
I just want to say I'm super chill.
Until you're not, right? Until you're not.
No. I'm very chill.
Explain the trophy yesterday, Christina.
That was just a super cool trophy. I'm not a bitch, I swear. ask anyone except MJ.
Now I got to know what this trophy is and why you got it. What's the
It's a
story
Dundee
there?
Award.
It's a what award?
A Dundee Award from The Office.
Oh, that's awesome.
My husband brought one home, and apparently someone traded it into his store, and he brought it, and I was so happy. And it had different little plaques, and one of them was kind of a bitch award, which is the one I put on myself. Okay, like no one else is around here.
You
calling me a
acknowledge
bitch.
it.
No,
That's awesome.
no, I just like the plaque. Okay.
No. So what she means to say is Christina is nice, but the other side.
It's like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, right?
Yeah.
No, her doppelganger is not.
It's my
Well,
twin. Not me.
We've established that Christina has a doppelganger. She has two of them.
Well,
Yeah.
technically it would
And-
be four, right? Because Christina, you saw your twin's doppelganger, so it'll be four.
Yeah.
It's a quad.
Quadruple ganger?
Doppelganger. She's rolling mob deep, you know.
I can tell you that at least the one doppelganger that I know down here, that one would definitely choose violence.
So she's her violent side, right? And they mesh together and they create a whole system. You know? we found your evil side, and it's here.
Oh, what's that movie with Tobey Maguire where he has like the multiple personalities?
Oh,
Is
damn
it Toby Maguire or what's his name?
Was it Tobey? Oh no.
The guy that looks like him.
No, the guy who plays Xavier. What's his name?
Oh, Split? No, not
Yeah.
Split.
Oh yeah, Split.
Yeah, Split.
Split,
What's his
yeah.
name?
Yeah.
Or whoever that
James
was.
McAvoy?
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah.
Okay. That guy.
Yeah. We found your evil side. We need you guys to console and come together as one again and just be one balanced person.
Plot twist, they're all evil.
Ah.
Oh man, you guys can make your own scary movie out of that.
Christina is like the sweetest person though. Really.
Thank you.
But evil of evil
Sometimes,
is
no.
positive, so that's good.
Like
It's
Like-
come back full circle.
I'm the one who wears the fedora. Okay, so clearly, fedoras are evil.
They are.
Are they?
Yeah, or
I've
spook-
never attributed.
No, because
The
like
Fedoras
Hatman wears
the
evil.
Hatman
one.
wears one. The Men in Black wear a fedora.
There's
Well,
stories of the devil dancing in ballrooms, and
with
he's
the
always wearing a
fedora.
hat.
Mhm.
Wow.
You wear a hat when you're up to no good, and I'm the one who always wears hats.
Interesting. I have never heard that.
Yeah, same here. I'm learning so much already.
So if you wear a hat, that means so in a lot of the spooky tales or scary stories, at least in the Latin culture, if the figure has a hat on, that's like a sign of the devil or a sign of a
That's just
bad entity.
That's just an Espooky Tales thing that we were like, whoa, why are
But,
all these
like-
bad entities wearing hats? Like, what is up? And why is it always a fedora? And we were like
Yeah.
having a a mind blowing moment. We were like, yo, they're all wearing fedoras. This is a fedora conspiracy.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
It was just us.
I've
But I
never heard
stand
that
by
before.
it.
I'd have to pay attention to that.
Right?
I
Yeah.
stand by it too. That's why me and my daughter.
That's
wear
why they rock
fedoras.
fedoras.
Yeah.
Mm.
to let people know.
So, Christina, you mentioned you were going to take us through the beautiful haunted island of Puerto Rico. Care to
Yes, let me
share that
let me
story?
start here. So, I'm going to give a little background on the place and then just go into the legends. And as always, feel free to interject with your thoughts. Castillo San Cristobal is located in San Juan, Puerto Rico. San Juan was colonized by the Spanish in 1521. In 1539, the Spanish constructed two defense fortresses, Castillo San Felipe del Morro and La Fortaleza. And in 1595 and 1598, the English attacked San Juan at these two locations. There was a bloody battle, lots of casualties, but I think the Spanish won. I don't know. I didn't read more than that. Then in 1625, the Dutch attacked from the other side where these two fortresses were not located at. And it was an unexpected attack and they had a lot of casualties. And this led them to build Castillo San Cristobal. It was built on a hill originally known as Cerro de la Horca or Cerro del Quemadero. And it took them 150 years to complete it. Seems like a long ass time.
That's a super long time.
Right.
Were they
It's,
waiting for the stones to be formed?
Probably.
No idea how or what was going on, but it took them that long. It
crazy.
started, they all died, and it was like continued by someone else, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
It's the largest fortress built by the Spanish. It covers over 27 acres with deep tunnels and sentry boxes, also called garitas in Spanish.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
These sentry boxes were so far apart from each other that in order to make sure they were still awake, that they were still there, the guards would yell out at each other until they got a response. But they had to yell so loud because they were competing with distance, with the sound of the wind, with waves crashing at the shore. So they had to be really loud. One sentry box was even further away than the others. This sentry box or garita earned the name Garita del Diablo or the Devil's Sentry Box.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. According to legend, a soldier by the name Sanchez was at Garita del Diablo. His fellow soldiers called for him, and there was no answer. They were too scared to check on him during this shift, during the night. So they waited until morning. And when they arrived, there was no trace of Sanchez. Nothing but his weapon and his uniform. The other guards believed that Sanchez was taken by the devil, and the story spread. And the sentry box was forever known as La Garita del Diablo.
Mm.
It's a lot more likely that he just went AWOL. He took off with his girlfriend. But nonetheless, the legend persisted. It spread. But the reason that's more likely it's because there's records that his command did not approve of his girlfriend. Neither did her parents. So there's a big chance that they just ran away together and lived happily ever after, or left each other. Who knows? I don't know.
Who knows?
Hopefully happily ever after. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. We'll go with that. That sounds better when we're talking about the Garita de Diablo.
Yeah.
Right.
They were happy until they weren't.
Right.
Until they weren't.
Until they weren't. Insert the what's it called? The inverted picture here.
Mhm, yeah.
Question mark. Dun, dun, dun.
Murder.
Murder, death everywhere.
Yes.
The spirit followed them everywhere.
Speaking of spirits, so many guards went missing from that box, that specific sentry box. And so, the legend spread even more. They were taken by Satan, never to be seen alive again, but their spirits are said to roam the fortress.
Ooh.
Another tale. Oh, what? Go on.
I was like, what a bummer. Imagine, you got snatched up by the devil, and then instead of living life in hell, you just get to do your job all day, every day, for all eternity.
I mean,
that's really hell. Just
that would be true hell.
yeah.
I don't know. I was supposed to party with Mama's ex. Now look at me. Here.
Right? Actual fiery hell sounds better than that.
You just get to do your job over and over. MVP and I actually made jokes about that. I would rather be in the 10th circle of hell than to just forever do my job all day, every day. And just live off
There's no end in sight. Yeah.
Agreed.
So you were saying again, Christina?
Yes. So another tale told of oh my God, I can't say it again. Another tale told of San Cristobal is that of Maria Dolores. And it's said that Maria Dolores was the daughter of the executioner of San Cristobal. So Maria fell in love with a man who happened to be a thief that was eventually caught and arrested for his crimes. And he was kept at the fortress. He was sentenced to death and killed by the executioner, Maria's daughter. But she was unaware of all of this. And so I don't know where she was or what was going on. But apparently she came across his body in the gallows and she was devastated. And so then she died by suicide, hanging herself beside her lover. And then the executioner, her father, found both of them when he came back to dispose of the body. He had just executed the guy. I forgot his name, Betancourt, which sounds weird. Like, why is someone named Betancourt there? So I don't know.
Maybe he was
he was
British dropped off by the British at some point.
Like he was
something. Yeah.
He was a foreign draftee.
Wow. But the couple is now set to haunt the fortress.
Like together, like walking hand in hand, or like one will be on one side, one will be on the other, and
I'd like to think they switch it up, you know?
Yeah, they run shifts. They do shifts.
Yeah. Sometimes they hold hands. Sometimes they take turns. Like, you know, that's what I like to think.
Yeah. Because I think they would be like, man, I'm getting bored of you. It's all eternity. Get away from me. Give my space.
Man, that's crazy.
Don't even
breathe. I couldn't imagine walking through. See, ancient places like that, right? With the spirits and everything, and just walking around there at night. Oh, just come here at nighttime. Take a nighttime tour. Or I can wait till the sun's up. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I would wait for the sun. This place, you can go to the fortress, but you cannot get in the sentry boxes, apparently. FYI. But it is open to the public. So if you're ever in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Which goes to show you, right, that there's still people out there that believe in the evil spirits a little bit, right? If they won't let you go in those sentry boxes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I don't know the reason. I don't know if they're just like too old and it's dangerous, or it's because they're haunted.
But then again, people are stupid, so there's bound to be somebody to do some stupid shit there.
Yo, check this out, YOLO, and then you just see him like a hand just come snatch his ass up, like, oh my god, nope.
I think it's a combination of all of it. I still think there's somebody that believes that those are evil places, and that's their way of protecting.
One thing we've always talked about is like Americans, so we wouldn't doubt Americans to be like, yo, let's bring a Ouija board there.
No.
Let's find the sentry box.
You know there's going to be some dumb kids in there.
It's like nobody's trying to do that.
Yeah, the kids would be like, oh, let's tempt fate a little bit. Let's do a little Blair Witch Project. No.
No. Hard
it's
no.
Not
you can go ahead and get snatched up by Satan yourself. I'm good.
Yeah, go ahead and do that job for all of eternity.
Right.
No, thank you.
Nope.
It sounds like a you problem, but thanks for like.
Yeah.
Oh, too bad. You got snatched by the devil. I'll see you in hell. Bye.
Nope. Thanks, buddy. Outskis. Exit stage right.
That is funny. Is it my turn now, or Christina? Do you still have more?
Nope, that was my story.
Oh, okay. Well, I am doing my story on I can't even say anything. Fortaleza del Real Felipe, or in English, the Real Felipe Fortress. It's located in Lima, Peru, and it started construction in 1747 and finished within like 8 months.
Wow, that's fast compared to the one I talked about.
And it was
a little quicker than 100. They learned since then, right? They built that one. It took them 150 years. They said, we can do this quicker this time.
Yeah. And the Spanish built it. It was built during colonization. And it was to protect Peruvian coastline from pirates because at that time, they were really attacking the Spanish. And the Spanish were like, yo, we need something to protect ourselves. So they learned. I think that this was a little bit after that one, right, Christina? When was yours built?
Yeah, for sure. Mine was built it started in like 16 something and it was finished.
Yeah, so this was like almost like 100 years later. They're like, we learned.
Yeah.
We learned. And it was a stronghold during its fight for independence. And today, this historical site is a military museum and continues to be an active military base. It is popular. It's a popular destination for tourism during the day.
But why not at night?
Well, the story's a little bit different at night. The Real Felipe Fortress is considered one of the most haunted places in Peru, along with La Casa Matusita, which if you guys are interested in that, we have an episode on it.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do it. Both of them. Let's go.
Y'all are on your own for La Casa Matusita. This one seems a little bit less scary, but the other one,
yeah, I would not set foot in that. That place.
Not me. Send pictures though. If you go missing, like I'm sorry. I'm not going to find you, but I'm sorry.
It's like we're gonna be like that scene from what's it, the Princess and the Frog, where like I'm in a giant fedora magician's hat and there's like a whole bunch of shadow people behind me, like just ready to snatch my soul.
Yeah.
I got friends on the other side. Hi everybody. Wish you were here, and it's like all of them is like giving thumbs up, like they're just ready to snatch your soul.
Yeah.
Come closer.
Are you ready?
No, I'm not.
Continue, please. Sorry.
So there have been so many counts of paranormal activity at the site that the museum holds paranormal tours for those who are interested. It has also been featured on Ghost Hunters International. Ooh. Now, the most common sighting is a lady in white, which can be seen at midnight on the drawbridge of the King's Tower. And I don't understand why this is, but ladies in white, women apparitions in white are one of the most common ghosts ever.
Ladies dressed in white. The way you made it sound was like it's a white lady with like her PSL in hand and like a plaid shirt and leggings.
Listen, 100 years from now, there's going to be something like that.
I thought you said like a white lady, like
that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, it probably was either way, but.
No, you know what? They a lot of the lady in white ghosts they have made like it's an indigenous person. So
is it
like La Llorona is supposed to be a mestiza woman?
That is true, but
yeah,
I feel like a lady in white is like so common all around the world because you know how they would at the time of burial they would bury the women in their finest dresses, which often was the wedding dress.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so I don't know, but it's very common.
Yeah,
I see it all the time.
So in about 300 years from now, you're gonna see it's instead of lady in white, it's gonna be lady in ox blood or something like that because that's like the latest fad.
That'll be
lady in some Lululemon leggings. Oh shit! We just said almost the same thing, but you said Lululemon and I said Lululemon, which I thought were the same thing for the longest time.
Me too. No, and then it's like there's going to be, during October where it's like, yeah, there was this lady. It was Ugg boots. What's it called?
She had a North Face jacket on, Ugg boots. It was crazy.
Latte in hand.
In hand, she tried to pour it on me. I'll have none of this.
Pour it on me.
It's time for fall, y'all.
And she had the Karen haircut. Oh my god!
And you can just hear the jingling of all the bracelets and shit. Like, oh my god!
I have a complaint.
That's what she repeats.
Ghoulish scream or whatever you hear. All you hear is, "I have a complaint." Oh no!
Sorry, MJ. Continue, please.
I'm not gonna call myself.
Catch the cough, man.
Oh my god, that would be me with the PSL, and I'm a ghost. Okay, you guys, don't ghost bust me, please. I'm basic. Basic things. Okay.
Just leave out. Just sprinkle some pumpkin spice on the floor. She won't haunt you.
That's the what's it called? What were we talking about? The offerings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you gotta leave a cup of abuelita out. so she doesn't come. And a tamal. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Yes, please. Now I'm hungry.
It's like you gotta get like 2 Scentsy candles and
No.
Hey, if you don't want her to come, you got to leave a tamal, abuelita, and 2 bags of Takis.
Hot Cheetos. Okay, get it right.
I like both.
or just get like a shaker of tahini, you know, a shaker of tahini.
Yes, yeah.
That's what you do when you draw a pentagram to summon me. Okay, sprinkle things.
A pentagram
It's
with
just
the tahini
tahini.
powder.
It's just tahini. Oh my god, that's awesome.
MJ, come to us.
It'll be dependent on time of year, right? If it's hot out, it'll be some tahini and some fruit.
Yeah, and then during like October, it has to be a pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh god.
Oh my God. Like, what do you want me to do? Okay, I'll be there just to berate you.
She just shows up appears as the apparition. Like, what do you want?
What do you want?
What now? What now?
Why? Why did you call me here? Why?
Yeah.
Like you just call her apparition just to roast you and then she goes away.
That's what I'm gonna do. Be like, I'm disappointed in you.
She shows up like you're looking at trying on clothes and you're looking at yourself in the mirror, and she shows up like, really, that, and just fades away.
I'm judging you. That's what I'm doing. I'm judging you all in the afterlife.
MJ, the judgmental ghost.
And all the side eye.
All
While
side.
I watch you, I'll just be like mean mugging you, looking you up and down, like, ooh.
That's gonna be it, right? The apparition in the mirror, just side eye, nothing else. Just like everyone else does, like a scary face or like.
But
does
you'll
like,
know she's coming from the jangling of the hoops in the ears.
you know, instead of like a scary face or like a death warning, like you're gonna die in 7 days, you just side eye the whole time, just like.
And like a deep sigh, like a disappointed sigh, like.
Like, oh, sorry, I guess I'll do something different. My bad.
Don't worry, you're already a disappointment. Just continue doing what you're doing.
Damn.
No,
That
you've
would
already
be
let
me.
me down.
You've
Can't
let me down.
any further.
It's like just don't start. You already let
What
me
does
down.
that meme say? You can't like let your family down if you always been a disappointment.
So one of my favorite things. So we'll get back on track here in a minute. But one of my favorite things to say to people, and Six and I have done this, is like, "Hey man, when I die, would you be a pallbearer at my funeral?" "Oh yeah, man, I'd love to. I mean, I barely know you though. Like, why would I'm honored, but why would you ask me? So I can rest in peace knowing you've let me down one last time."
Oh, multiple times. It's so funny.
That is so funny. Oh my god, I want to be cremated, so I don't know how that would go. I always told my kids, make me my ashes into a diamond, and then when you guys are broke, you could pawn me off.
Wow.
Oh God.
That's resourceful, though.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's like we
That's
don't
some
have
shit my
money,
dad
let's
would
tell
say.
grandma.
That's
You know
deep.
what though?
Like-
That's a thing. People do that though. Like you'll see like pawn shop owners, and they'll put message up there like, "Dude, we get people in here all the time bringing grandma's ashes turned to a diamond and to pawn it off, like the grandkids
Is
or
that
whatever."
real? Is that real?
That's a real thing.
Wow, I was like, wow, we totally made this up. That's real.
That's real.
Damn. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when I get to be made into a diamond for each child, and then it's like, yo, if you're broke, pawn my grandma off. That is so funny. Okay, let's continue. Before I start laughing again.
Yeah.
Another comment.
I'm sorry.
Tina.
I'm sorry. I should have just stayed quiet. I'll stop now.
Another common entity cited is the ghost of a little boy, often seen in the governor's house. People who see this little boy describe him as being around 2 years old and wearing an 1800s sailor outfit. Quick glimpses of the child are seen before he vanishes into thin air. And he's often described as like playing around, like he's playing or like running and stuff. That's also a hell no, because for those of you who listen to our podcast, y'all know that little kid spirits freak me the hell out because ain't
That's
something
exactly
wrong
what I was
there.
gonna say. Like the little kid laughing, you hear like the little child laughter
It's not it's not
in the middle of the
comforting.
night.
That's
It's creepy.
like I always said, it's like an evil entity like masking itself as a child to be, you know, kind of like to lure you, like, oh, look at, I'm all innocent. Just kidding. You're going to hell now with me.
No.
That's how it works.
Right? And that'd be the way to sucker me in. Like, oh, little kid, like, what's the matter? You need some help? And then like, snatch. Oh.
Like you thought.
Yeah. One of the most common like legends is like, there's like a baby crying in the field and some drunk uncle is walking home and he's like, I gotta help that baby. And he goes and like, it's actually Satan.
Yeah, that is a very common thing. And it's like a baby that's really heavy too, like super heavy. You can't pick it
like
up.
the more he walks, the heavier the baby gets.
Yeah,
and eventually the drunk deal looks down and the baby has like sharp teeth and it's like, I'm Satan. Hi.
You
Nah,
thought.
That's a thing?
Yes, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Very
Nah, come
common
on now.
all over
Come
Latin
on now.
America.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like whenever there's a child entity, like in my beliefs, kids are so pure that they don't ever stay. Like they get taken, you know, to the afterlife where they're supposed to go. So what does that mean? That means that whatever is trying to mimic a child is not good, because why would you try to mimic a child?
Very true.
I always associate it with like very evil spirits or demons. So I don't know. So you guys trying to go to this place. If y'all get, you know, possessed, that's on you. I know you. Send us pictures.
I can tell you that's probably not going to happen for me.
Right.
Damn.
Is there, you got more, MJ?
Yes, I got one more. So this next ghost has a story attached to it. According to legend, a soldier was posted at the Queen's Tower, and as the soldier watched the enemy get closer and closer to the fort, he became filled with fear, so scared that he ended his own life by jumping off the tower. Now, visitors claim to witness a soldier in the tower, which, by the way, is off limits too, for probably the same reason. And people in the area claim to have an uncontrollable urge to jump off the tower.
What the?
Ooh.
Which a lot of people say, like, when there's like really negative energy, it almost makes you want to replicate what happened. So,
yeah.
Yeah, no. Solid no.
And
hard no.
That's a pass.
Yeah.
So the most active place in the tower is the dungeon. And people who visit this place claim to hear disembodied voices, apparitions, cries, and wailing. Footsteps, banging, and shadow figures are common in the area. And from the picture that I saw, the dungeon is very narrow. I'm talking about like only like one person can fit there, like walking through. And it's very long, but very narrow. And they would cramp up to 80 people, pack them up like sardines, leave them there to die and starve. So there was a lot of suffering and a lot of torture that occurred here. And it has a 274-year history. So can you imagine what happened in almost those 300 years?
Oh, no.
Atrocities and so much, human rights violations. So yeah, so whoever's going to this place, send pictures, but no, it's a pass for me. It's a pass.
Hard pass.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
That's crazy. That reminds me. So you were talking about the kids and stuff before, and then underground dungeons. So in Monterrey, Mexico, there's a 400-year-old some Spanish mission church.
Oh.
Built up on a hill, and you can go tour it, and it's got old cannons and stuff up there. I guess at one time it was a fortress / church, and then ultimately just became a church, and then now it's kind of just like a museum. But it's like majority of the building's closed off for reasons we've discussed, But they say that in the tunnels underneath, the priests and the nuns, that's where they would get together. And the tunnels are supposedly several miles long. Supposedly.
Wow.
But I guess they tie into like local cave systems or whatever. But they said, the nuns and the priests would get down there, do their thing. The nuns would get pregnant, not supposed to be pregnant. So when they would give birth, they would give birth down there in those tunnels and then take the babies way far back in and just leave them there and then come back out to the surface. So they say if you go down in there now, you can hear the babies wailing in
Oh.
the caverns. Yeah, dude, it's some creepy shit.
Oh man.
You know, it's funny. The first erotic novel was written by a priest.
Oh,
I believe it.
No. It's I studied it in Renaissance
Oh my gosh.
art, and people are like, but they're priests. And I'm like, yo, the first erotic novel was about a priest fantasizing what he would do to a nun and what he had done to a nun. So,
jeez.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
On brand.
Yep.
MVP, you got one?
I don't have anything related for like aviation wise, but
I mean the creepy baby tunnel thing was pretty
yeah.
shaky.
yeah. So from my hometown though, I'm from back east in Ohio. And so my hometown, one side of the river was a Native American settlement. And on the other side, or was a camp, a Native American village, and then on the other side was a pioneer town that they had built up because it was a pretty large tribal village there. So pioneers put up a village cross to do trading with furs and all that kind of stuff. So in that pioneer village, there was a lady there named Mary Stuckums. And if you're from my area, it's and you can look it up online too, but everybody knows who Mary Stuckums is. So she was this woman, and she had 3 children, and she lost her mind, became possessed. They said she was a witch and that she sacrificed her children to Satan. So she murdered all 3 children, and then she was found out, discovered, and hung for her crimes. But because I guess the mutilation and such was so grotesque that she couldn't be buried in the normal graveyard, which would be way up over the hill. So like I would have to drive past it every day to get to my house. But she couldn't be buried in that graveyard. That's where normal God-fearing folks were buried. She was taken across the river on the Native American side and then taken. It takes like right now, like 45 minutes to get there by car from the town that's there now. So back in those days with no roads and whatever else, it would, I don't know how long it would have taken to get there by horseback and carriage or by just carrying the body. But you go way out in the middle of nowhere, and then you have to go way down into this hollow. And then from that day forward, that's where all Stuckham people with the last name of Stuckham had to be buried because they were considered to all be possessed.
Jeez.
And they didn't want those people around. So they buried the whole family out there. And Mary was the first one at the bottom of the hollow, way as far back as you can get. But now if you walk down there now, it's like a little deer path to get down through there. And you can see, old several 100-year-old gravestones and whatever else. But yeah, the goal is to get all the way in the back, right? As you're a teenager, it's a popular place to go to test your braveness, if you will. But the goal is to walk all the way to the back to get to Mary's grave. And then you're supposed to say something, and I can't remember what it is. And sometimes she appears. They said you can see the ghost of her children wandering the woods around there. You can see floating orbs and things like that. But I can tell you the time that I was there, we made it about halfway in, and I heard a little girl scream.
Oh my God.
And we turned, there was like 5 of us, and we turned and fucking hauled ass back out of that hollow, jumped in the truck, and we're gone, dude.
Heck
Gone.
yeah. I would
Never went back again. Never went back again.
Wow.
I'd be
like,
bye.
No.
So
I leave my friends there, like, you're on your own.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the legend of Mary Stuckums.
Jeez.
From my part of the world.
Ugh. Wow, damn. so we went from the underground baby tunnel to like a whole family of possessed demon children.
Yeah.
Or her just sacrificing her children to Satan,
to
right?
kid killers. Oh my God.
Oh, damn.
And throw hands with these ghosts once I die.
Right. So
apparently she's one that can possess and send apparitions home with you type thing.
Oh, hell no.
yeah,
So they say.
That's a solid no.
Mm-hmm.
So the stories that I got, the first one, it's called Eastern Airlines Flight 401. This actually got turned into a movie. It was like an old movie. I can't remember when.
Snakes on a plane?
Snakes on a plane, yeah. Tired of these fucking
I
snakes.
like snakes. So I'd be like, oh, can I?
Oh, hi, little guy. What are you doing? Where's your mom? Ah!
That's me, though. I love snakes and bats
Bats too.
and spiders.
So in 1970, so in 1972, Eastern Airlines flight 401 was flying from New York to Miami, and something went wrong with the plane, and it crashed into the Florida Everglades and killed about 101 people. The airline company decided or found some of the parts from the wreckage, and they were able to salvage it and then install them into different airplanes within their fleet.
This sounds like it's gonna go bad.
Yeah.
So there have been stories of each of those planes that these salvage parts were installed on started having apparitions on the flights. One such was the VP for the airlines. He recalled before he stepped onto his flight, he was having a conversation with this guy in a captain's uniform. And they had a good ass conversation. He boarded his plane, and about halfway through the flight, he realized that the guy he was talking to looked exactly like the captain who died on the plane crash. So
That is, no.
So going back a little bit, among the people who died in that flight was the captain. His name was Robert Loft, and the flight engineer, his name was Don Rico. And all these different planes that they cannibalized and salvaged these parts and installed them on all started seeing apparitions or visions of these two pilots and flight engineers on top of the passengers. Another story was a flight attendant was about to serve people from the galley and whatnot to give them food and whatnot, and she saw a face in the oven that was cannibalized, that was salvaged from the wreckage. So she saw a face.
Jesus.
She saw a face in the oven and she like freaked out, obviously, like anyone else would, like any normal person would. And she started to call two of her other flight attendant crew members to come take a look. Like, oh, dude, what is this? And when she looked back at the oven, the face talked to her and said,
"Oh my god, no!"
The face told her, like, watch out for fire on this plane. And,
oh hell no!
And as soon as they came back on their flight, or they had to return back to the airport because the engine was having some trouble. And when the aircraft landed, they shut down just in time before the engine caught on fire. So the ghost pretty much warned them that the aircraft was going to catch on fire. And so they listened, and then they avoided like sheer disaster from the engine catching on fire.
I would keep that ghost, like legit. I would be like, you know what? Whatever part.
He's helpful.
He's helpful. He gets to stay.
Or he might.
Right.
You hear that, Philip?
Right.
You hear that?
So all these aircraft that the parts that they salvaged were installed on, they all started seeing stuff like that. Like the pilots or the passengers would warn them of stuff that's going to happen to the plane that the parts are installed on. And they've all the crew members of the airline company established like these ghosts are trying to help us. But after so much bad press and or threat of bad press and the crew members just being spooked out of their fucking minds, the airline company decided to remove all those salvage parts and destroy them because they're like, yo, ghost on a plane, just no.
I'd rather take a ghost over like people, though. Honestly, people annoy me.
So
especially if it's a helpful ghost.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Right?
It's like, yo, he's pulling more weight than half of these people.
Right.
He gets to stay.
Right. Yeah, they're helping. They're helping.
From my perspective, I'm like, hey, Mr. Ghost, you found the problem. You mind just fixing it real quick? Like, put some hands on that, please.
Nope.
I'll like give you some offerings. What's your favorite food? I'll bring them over.
Yeah, for real. Like, hi, guy. Like, yeah, I mean, you're pretty good at troubleshooting stuff. So, can you tell me what's gonna happen before we take off? That can be
You
nice.
got it. Yeah, exactly.
That would be
I would
nice.
have kept them. I would have been like, you know what? Wink, wink. We destroyed it. Wink.
Yeah, these are our friends. I mean, ghosts are bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Second story. This plane is actually still in service. It's called Spook 50.
Ooh.
Spook 50 is a KC-135 aircraft refueler. So if you ever see any movies or pictures of planes getting gas in the air, that's the plane that gives them the gas. This particular plane, Spook 50, is the notorious KC-135 that's had more deaths on that plane than any other plane in the entire U.S. Air Force.
Oh.
So this is a U.S. Air Force plane, by the way. Spook 50 would have moments where the autopilot would turn off on its own. The lights on the plane would turn on and off when there's no one near the switches or no one even in the plane, just turns on and off on its own. The two such instances with Spook 50 is there's this one window that has like this thing called a sextant, which is kind of like a compass. This window exploded somehow, and it killed one of the 14 crew members on the plane.
What?
And to this day, they still don't know how that window exploded, but the chances of that one person who did die was 1 in 2 billion.
Damn.
Wow.
See, when it's your turn, it's your turn.
Right? That's some Final Destination shit.
Yeah, that is
real.
Destination shit.
And so the craziest story that I've heard or that was told, this was actually from one of our friends, MVP, is one crew member was operating the refueling boom to have it come down to refuel some other planes. And this is in the dark and whatnot, and he has his night vision on. They're how many some thousand feet in the air. And he swears up and down that as he's operating the boom to refuel the planes, he felt a hand grab him by the wrist and force the boom the other direction.
What?
And so he looks, he feels the arm. He like, no kidding, like someone just like grabs him, like trying to stop him. And he looks and there's nothing. And so he radios to the pilot to like, who's down here with me that's forcing me to not operate the boom? And the pilots are like, what are you talking about, dude? You're the only one down there. And he's had this occurrence 5 times.
That is like one too many.
That is one too many. Yeah, he needs to like.
No, that's 4 times too many. The first time would have been enough.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
What's it called? I don't know if you guys are allowed to do this, but stage that shit.
Right.
Stage it up and down. But then, it's like once you realize you're the evil spirit.
Right. So this plane is actually still in service, which is the crazy part. If that was me, I'm like, yo, this plane's got to go, man. Like put it in
for sure.
Put it in the boneyard, something. Just like stop flying this thing.
Spray the area with holy water or something. Don't. But I know it's like probably against.
Just stop using it.
Yeah, right. So this plane is currently in MacDill Air Force Base. I think that's in Florida. Yeah, I think that's in Florida. That was me. Like, nope, not a chance in hell.
Mm-mm.
And that's
thanks.
And that's the stigma. Like nobody wants to fly this thing, but obviously,
start praying.
Someone's doing it.
Start praying.
It's like the nose goes kind of thing. Like 1, 2, 3, not it. Damn
it. Speaking of Florida, they got that Bermuda Triangle out there, and they say aircraft that fly through there, if they still fly through there, some people just opt to go around it, do their flight plans around it. But they say, like, even to this day, flying through there, you'll see a fleet of World War II fighters cruising along.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Ones and they'll look at the tail numbers or whatever, and they'll go back and research it, and that they were lost in a storm or whatever else at sea. Right, every aircraft from that unit went down into the ocean. It was lost, but they'll see them flying there through the Bermuda Triangle.
That's like some wormhole type stuff.
Just like
that's what it is. Like it's like you get sucked into another universe or another place in the universe. No.
Right, that's a hard no for me.
I know there's like a Bermuda Triangle in Alaska, and planes there disappear all the time too. I was watching a show on it like the other day.
Oh yeah, up by the Bering Strait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a no.
Lots of.
I'll rather stay on the ground. Thanks. With my luck, it's like, hey, the whole plane is abducted. Congrats, Dante. You did this to all of us. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't deal with that. My thing though is with the haunted plane, like, hey, if you're going to be hanging out here, how about instead of messing up my arm and trying to stop this refuel action, how about you fix some of these discrepancies we got in the logbook? You know what I mean?
Put in some work.
That's useful.
Yeah. Can you imagine me like bring my like shadow person and be like, hey, Philip, that guy's bothering me. Go get him and watch like a ghost fight each other. That'd be sick.
Is that a thing? Can you do that?
Oh my God.
I don't know, but I kind of want to try now.
Like, do you suppose that's a real thing though? If you have, so you say you have this Philip who's with you.
I don't know if it's a one Philip or many Philips, but we just call him Philip.
So, okay, let's just say do you think Philip keeps the bad entities away?
I don't know. He does not annoying.
From the spirit. Well, what I'm saying though is right, but he's not annoying, but is he?
There are stories of shadow people that people will say they protect them from other beings that were like maybe coming. Like,
I've heard that too, that they're guardians. I don't know what Philip is, but Philip is always around. My daughter saw him or it 2 nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. We've all seen them. Anybody who's around me, and if you're around me long enough, you will end up seeing Philip.
And that's why I only record in a hallway, or where does he show up?
The other. Well, I got a picture. Remember, Christina?
Yeah.
He was in front of my closet the other day. He was behind my the bed thing. What is that called? Oh my god, my brain went
like
the headboard
board thing. Yeah.
That's where my daughter saw him. I've seen him in the kitchen, and sometimes it's just his hand, sometimes it's just a torso. My daughter saw him in the kitchen walking. My son has seen them together. Me and other people have seen Philip together. So it's like whenever I get enough people, even this is like my friends. Remember I was telling you that I used to have a lot of friends over all the time, and they'd be like, they'd see some shit and they'd be like, bye. So if you hang out with me long enough, you'll see Philip.
This is why I only record remotely with you, MJ. No, no, it's because I live in another state.
That's interesting. I wonder if you, during one of your recordings, if you could set up like another. Have you heard? Does he speak at all?
I don't know, but there was this one recording when I was alone, and I was talking to a friend, and I was like, "Hey, have you listened to the latest Espooky Tales podcast?" And you hear someone talk, like a woman talking. I was alone that day, by the way. My kids were at school. I was alone. I was waiting for them to get off because my kids' schedule is so weird. My son goes in at 8:35 in the morning, and then my daughter goes in at 11:50, and then they both get out at 3:14. So I have to make 3 trips to the school.
Interesting.
And it was one of those when I had just finished dropping off my daughter. I was home, and then it was the case with when we did the demon case. I don't know if it was that, or because I know sometimes, like whenever I do research a case, things get attached to me for a minute. And I don't know if it had something to do with the case, because the same thing happened with when me and Christina were researching this this thing called the Y Chivo. And I live in an apartment, 2nd story, and we would hear knocking all over my apartment, and it was me, my kids, and my mom, and we were all in the, we were making dinner. I was making dinner for the family, and you hear the knocking on the walls. And I live in the 2nd floor, you guys.
Yeah, that's a hard no. Sorry about that, everyone. Like, I was I had to unplug my mic for a second because I was hearing music in my headphones for whatever reason, and I don't have anything open.
That's Philip.
Hey,
that's Philip saying hi. No, but then so we would hear like knocking, right? And it was so bad that week during research. My kids
I had like a weird ass fucking dream, and I don't ever have nightmares. Like I said, I'm super chill.
And then me and Christina had nightmares the same night. My kids are having nightmares. We were hearing knocking. There was stuff flying off my bookshelf. It was crazy, and I try to avoid that topic now because I also talked to a friend of mine, and she was like, you have to have connections to the Yucatan. By the way, I'm not from the Yucatan. I am from, like, my lineage, my, I guess, indigenous descent part thing comes from the Chichimeca. Okay. So I'm not of the same lineage as someone from the Yucatan Peninsula, but I do, my uncle did marry a woman who is Mayan descent. And they're like, you have to have a connection to someone in the Yucatan Peninsula for this stuff to what's it called? And I was like, I just have, I have a family by law, which I guess they're legit family now because, so, and I was like, oh my God, that's my connection. And they said they only go if you have a connection to someone in the Yucatan Peninsula. And I was freaking out. I found this out like not too long ago. I was like, oh my God.
I would be too.
And and we still every once in a while we still hear someone knocking on my front door, and you open it, nobody's there.
Ew.
And
Gross.
lately, the past 2 months, I always hear my husband knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'm home." And then I text him, "Hey, did you knock on the door?" He's like, "No, but I just parked right now." I was
Mm-mm.
like, "Oh, I'm psychic. I know when you're home."
Right. So speaking of connections and me just now about hearing music in my headphones, wink, wink, hint, hint. This kind of goes into a story. I was gonna bring it up like some other time, but Denver Airport, funny enough.
Yes, I've heard so much about that place.
So Denver Airport is reportedly one of the most haunted places in the entire U.S. And there's this one section in the airport. I can't remember the names of it, but they're said to be music playing all the time. And the music's not like some elevator music shit. It's like some Native American ritual chanting music. And some people, especially the ones at the airports, they swear it off like that's just part of our cultural arts program. That's just music, just to kind of fill space because it's so far away, Lazada, all that stuff. And then, but other people say that either the chanting or the music playing is to ward off ghosts, or it is by the ghosts. and so that just kind of made me laugh because I was hearing music in my headphones.
That is creepy. I'm so sorry.
So speaking of warding off ghosts, right? I have something to add into that. And I was asking MJ, does Philip keep the bad spirits away? So for a while, my family and I were living, my wife and my kids, we were all living in West Virginia in a house that was built in like 1952. Anyway, old wooden house, made a lot of creaks, but in the house, like I had a door to the upstairs that I always keep closed because I don't want the kids going up there because they were babies at the time. But you would hear like walking on the wood at nighttime sometimes. And then like in the basement, the basement was massive. Had a whole workshop down there, a bathroom. It was a big, like, I guess the guy who built the house, he was living in the basement and built the house over top of him. But anyhow, I would hang out down there, had, TV, kids' toys and stuff. So I'd be down there. And then at nighttime, when everybody else would be going to sleep, I'd be just down there watching TV or whatever. And then like a kid's toy would like kick off, one of those like electric toys would just start chiming off. Or like a doll would just start talking. And you're like,
that happens to me all the time. That's why I take the batteries out of my kids' toys because at one point we had what we call a child spirit because, when we first moved into this place, we moved in right after my son's second birthday. And so that means we had a bunch of new toys and stuff. And we had this light up bag and it would go off by itself. And then me and my cousin, we were moving all the stuff. And then we heard a little girl laugh and me and my cousin looked at each other and we were like, did you hear that? And then he stayed with us for a while and he would hear something playing with the toys and someone opening up like the toy boxes and stuff and playing with them. That was fun.
Yeah. Burn it all down.
So to it then, right? So fast forward, and I was still traveling a decent amount back then for work, but I was down in Houston, Texas working. And I, being aviation maintenance, you're out pretty much all night long. So I was getting back, I think at like 3 I was getting back at like 1 or 1:30 or 2 in the morning. And I called, I would always call the wife, when I get back, even though I knew she'd be asleep, but I'd call her and just let her know I was back in for the night at the place I was staying at down in Houston. She was up in West Virginia. She would talk to me on the phone. She was kind of half asleep. She goes, oh my God. And I said, what? And she goes, I can't touch them. I said, what you can't do? The kids? Like, cause when I was gone, she would always sleep with the kids in her bed. And I was like, the kids? She's like, no, there's three shadowy figures in front of me. And like, they're right here. And I can't touch them, but they're right here looking at me. I said, how are they acting? She goes, I don't feel afraid at all. She goes, they're just here looking over. looking over the room. Like one was in the room and one was in the door and one was still in the hallway, and she's like, I was like, are you afraid? And she's like, no, they're not acting menacingly or anything. They're just kind of hanging out. She felt calm almost. Like, but they were there and she was trying to reach them and touch them, like to see if it was real. And I was like, okay, well, she's like, all right, well, I'm going to go back to sleep. And now again, she's a Latina from Mexico. So she's very in tune with the spirit stuff, believes all that stuff. Her grandmother was very much that way. And she does the sage burning all the time here. But I talked to her the next day. I said, hey, the shadowy figures, she's like, yeah, they were, she goes, I'm telling you, they were there, but I couldn't touch them. So I looked it up a little bit and there's a story and a lot of people say they experienced it, but it's these three fallen angels who are doing God's work to get back into his good graces. So they're, because she said they had wings. So it's just three with their, so if you read the story in the Bible, says the three shall spread their blackened wings and act out God's vengeance type thing. So they say those three appear when there's a real bad entity around. Those three show up to fight it, eradicate it.
That's what I was going to tell you. That's a good omen because there's been only 2 times when 2 or 3, I can't remember clearly. I'm going to have to, I've seen them so many times where I see shadow people and I feel something negative. Otherwise, the rest of the times are like, I don't care. Because there was this one story. Okay, so I've told this, I think, on Espooky Tales. But I was sleeping and it was right in the area where I saw the shadow person by my closet. And I'm sleeping. I wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and I see the shadow person dangling from my ceiling. And it's on all fours. So it's almost like the ceiling became the floor.
Ew.
But it starts twitching.
That's weird.
Contorting in all this way. And I was like, and I couldn't tell what it was. And then I was like, oh, ew. And then I was like, it's a shadow person. And then I went back to sleep. But I didn't feel any negative things towards about it. It was weird. It moved weird. But then once I realized it was a shadow person, I see them so often. I was like, okay, good night.
Man, I don't want to ever be that comfortable.
Right.
That's seeing too many shadow people. So when I was a kid, right? I was a kid and I remember I just snapped awake in the middle of the night in my room and I just sat straight up in my bed and looked at the end of my bed and there were 2 white figures there with wings. So angels, I guess you would say.
Jeez.
But I mean, vivid. And they were standing there and they were kind of they were talking to each other, but kind of looking at me through the side eye a little bit, but talking. But I didn't feel
side eye.
you know what I mean? They were kind of leaning towards each other, talking and kind of glancing over at me and then looking back at one another, that kind of thing.
I would be talking. Am I being judged now?
And I was like, and I just remember sitting there looking at him. And then all of a sudden one of them waved their hand and I just kind of fell straight back asleep.
It was like you weren't supposed to see this.
Yeah, and then the next day, my cousin's 2-year-old son drowned.
Whoa.
And I was like,
they were probably like, no, it's not you.
Right.
Damn.
And so that's what my mom said. My mom she goes, I think they were deciding.
Damn.
That is
they were there because it was going to be one of you two and it wasn't you.
Wow.
Damn.
God.
And I think about that a lot.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
That was pretty deep.
Yeah, that was so strange.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Goosebumps.
No kidding. I was like, I don't know about y'all. I think I had enough spine tinglers for the moment.
Are you sad I got more?
I mean, we can totally talk more. We can do that for our post show I guess our post show. So with that, Christine, I think you usually have this line that you normally say when you're about ready to sign off.
Oh yes. Let's see. Don't go to haunted fortresses. I don't know. That's my line right there.
Yeah, don't go to haunted fortresses. They have too much history. It's a no.
Yeah.
But if you do go, send us pictures.
Don't take canned parts from crashed planes.
Yes, that too.
Right.
If a plane is haunted, just stop using it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm going to just add in burn sage.
Right. So you did something wrong and you need to figure out what it is to make amends.
Or give them offering of food.
Mm,
Like, you're all going to do for me once I pass.
yes,
That's right.
So,
Takis and pumpkin spice.
right.
Pumpkins and tamales.
Abuelita.
Tajin and a cup of
Pozole.
abuelita.
But I'm like listing off everything. Maybe a pupusa or two, you know?
Maybe. That's like
That's
a
for
must.
you,
What are you
Christina.
talking about? You're right. You're right.
Like, when I need to contact Christina, come to the pupusa.
Pues,
Yes.
Man,
Pues
well, what
mira.
would it be for you then, Six? Since you're an islander.
It'd probably be like something with rice, obviously.
Yeah.
Spam would be nice too.
Oh,
Spam. All right, I got you.
Spam
Spam it.
musubi the other day. Oh,
Heck yeah.
so good.
Pues,
What are those things called where you wrap the spam up with the rice and this?
Spam
Musubi.
musubi.
Spam
Oh, that's
musubi.
what it is?
Yes.
Okay,
I
musubi,
love
okay.
that stuff.
Or moco
Yeah, those are delicious.
loco. I
No,
could go for
Loco
some.
Moco is like a
Loco Moco.
like a breakfast. It's like so. It's like
Yeah.
It's like
I
breakfast.
make that for dinner all the time. No shame.
It's like
What is it?
Moco loco.
Loco Moco.
Loco moco or moco loco? I don't know. Whatever. One of those
Loco
two.
Moco.
He
Loco
knows,
Moco.
MJ.
I
Loco
know he
moco.
knows.
So it's like breakfast, but you have like a hamburger and an egg on top of it.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
like rice, hamburger, egg, and then gravy on top.
Yep, gravy.
Oh,
That was so
okay.
good.
So that'd be
It's
it.
God, I
That'd be
guess
good
what
stuff.
will my white ass want?
What's that one? That one pudding you mentioned? That your grandmother or your mother makes. Oh,
Pudding.
bologna gravy.
Oh, bologna gravy. Yeah, for my poor broke white ass. Yeah,
But how many people would
Grew
know
up-
to do that, right? Like, it wouldn't be a
grew up
thing.
white. Yeah, it wouldn't be a thing.
I
That'd
do
be the
not
way
know
you
what
get
that
me.
is.
You must really need me if you made bologna gravy. Well, so I grew up a little bit of poor white trash. So bologna so did my mother. So she would always make this, and she makes it for me every Christmas that I see her now.
Aw,
But it's
so cute.
so sausage growing up was expensive, right?
Mhm.
But bologna was very
Mhm.
cheap.
Mhm.
So she would take bologna and she would dice it up and then fry it in a skillet. And then she would make her own homemade gravy, like a white gravy.
Mhm.
And with that, with a lot of like black pepper or whatever. And then instead of biscuits, because, that stuff was expensive, saltine crackers are cheap. So you'd mash up a bunch of saltine crackers in your hand, put it on a plate, and then pour that bologna gravy over top of it. Then just mix it up and eat it.
Oh.
And that is my go-to Christmas Day meal.
So,
Okay,
so there you have it. A Christmas haunting by MVP, bologna gravy.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Bologna is fire though.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And my wife thinks it's just horrendous that I would eat something like that.
My like broke food would be macaroni, but then you make taco mac. So you on a skillet you mush up the ground beef and then add taco seasoning, and then once that's done, you mix the macaroni and the taco meat. It's so good. It's
Dang,
so
that doesn't
good.
sound broke to me. You got meat.
Yeah, that's like chili
Yeah,
mac.
yeah,
That's
right.
chili mac and
Mine
cheese right
growing
there.
up was like rice and beans.
Yeah, so that's-
Tortilla.
So that's funny. So like my wife will talk shit to me about eating that food, and I'm like, says the one who grew up eating. Oh, what's for dinner tonight? Well, we either got tortilla with butter in it rolled up, or we got beans and rice, and that's it in a tortilla. I was like, come on.
Okay, but
That stuff is
refried
delicious.
beans are fire.
Have
Oh,
you
they're
ever
good.
had what they call casamiento? It's
Yes.
beans and
Oh
rice
my
fried
God.
together. That shit is
Yeah.
bomb.com.
Yeah.
Like,
I just
And
had that the other
especially-
day.
Especially
So
if
good.
you use pork fat, what's it called?
Oh, yeah.
Lard? Manteca?
Lard, yeah.
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 Mhm.
Manteca?
So
Yeah.
that's how my mother-in-law does it, or whatever. Or sometimes she'll mix chorizo in with her refried
Ooh.
beans.
Oh, yep.
Chorizo beans, and then you're like, this double chin is coming in nicely.
Speaking of
Oh, I
lunch,
know. I
I
look at
gotta
myself
go
and I'm
feed
like,
my
you're so gross as I eat another one, you know?
I gotta go feed my toddler.
So ladies, real fast before we sign off for the night, where can we find you?
Yes. So everything and anything in Espooky Tales you can find at espookytales.com, but you can also find us on our socials at Espooky Tales, literally everywhere. That's just the name. It's all together, no space, just Espooky Tales. Twitter, Instagram, we use more. I ignore Facebook, and then TikTok. I
TikTok,
post almost
yeah.
daily. So
Sweet. And
Awesome.
for all you Espooky listeners, you can find us at cancelformaintenance.com. All the socials, not TikTok though, because non-disclosure reasons. Instagram, it's at KanksYNX for maintenance. Twitter is at CXMX maintenance. And likewise, you can find us there and everywhere you can listen to podcasts. So on that note, bye everybody. Stay spooky.
Bye.
Yes, stay spooky. Bye.
See you, everyone.
Chee-hoo. And recording stop.
All you ghouls and goblins.
We'd like to take this time to thank our patrons for supporting our show and allowing us to continue to make episodes, maintain our gear, and create merch for all of our listeners, with special thanks to Erica Lamont, Chris Hawkins, Ryan Freshour, Dan Schubert, Jenny Dignan, and the ladies of the Dick Talk and Mimosas podcast. Thank you all so much for your support and patronage. Visit our shop at cancelformaintenance.com and grab some swag to show off both your support for us and your prowess as an aircraft technician. If you have ideas for the show or you would like to be a guest on the show, visit our contact us section and send us a line. We will do what we can to get your ideas or yourself on the show. You can also follow us on social media, such as on Facebook at Cancel for Maintenance, Instagram at Kanks, that's CANX for Maintenance Podcast, or on Twitter at CXMX Podcast. Check out some of our affiliates like Rockwell Time, where they make both rugged and classy watches to fit your lifestyle. Use the code CX4MX and save 10% off your purchase. Support us on Patreon. Our patrons get exclusive perks such as access to our Discord, discounts and early access to merch, special patron-only episodes, and so much more. Thank you again so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.